Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. If you can't tell what it is, well, it's a Commodore VIC-20. The VIC-20, known as the VC-20 in Germany, was announced in 1980, about 3 years after Commodore's first personal computer, the PET, and was really intended just to be a more economic item to produce, make and sell. It was called the VC-20 in Germany because the pronunciation of Vic with a German accent apparently sounds like a German expletive. Not sure if that's true. Yep, would love to hear if that's true or not. And the term VC was marketed as though it were an abbreviation of Volkscomputer or People's Computer, similar to the way Volkswagen did it. It was the first ever personal computer to sell over 1 million units, and in total 2.5 million of these were manufactured before it was discontinued in January 1985. I was lucky enough to pick this up about 1.5 years ago. It cost me at that time about 40 or 50 pounds. It came with the data cassette, with some tapes, not many, and it was boxed. Now the box has the original price on it. So when this was first bought new, all the way back in the early 80s, it was £139.50. The seller had owned it from new, so this is exactly how they had it. However, I have had to purchase a power supply because that wasn't unfortunately in the box and the seller was unable to find it. So let's unbox it. Here we have the VIC-20, complete with its power supply that I've bought separately, and tucked in the end the RF modulator. It is missing a key, so we'll need to look at that during the restoration. And this is one of the rainbow badge, not the silver badge versions. Just a shame. This is quite annoying, the fact that the label actually has this curve to it. It's somebody like me that likes them nice, pristine, that's kind of OCD-ish. So let's pop it out. And we still have the original manual with the introducing VicSoft in the bottom. But for the moment, we're going to pop all this away. Now that it's out, it's in really quite nice condition. It's not too faded. The keys are nice. We've got some paper stuck in there. Let's immediately remove that. Oh, a nice blue sticker. Lovely. Now, on the back, like the 64, we've got our user and tape deck ports, we've got our expansion port, and then we've got these two ports. You'll notice there's no RF. You are expected to supply your own RF. If you wanted to use it with a conventional telly, it was designed to run with a monitor straight off using just a stock cable that you were able to purchase. And here we've got one joystick port, an on-off switch, and a very different power port. One of the reasons I've had to purchase a power supply. On these models, the voltage regulation was done internally rather than in the power supply, dropping it down from 240 in the UK to the required voltage here and then doing the DC conversion in the power supply. The DC conversion is actually done on board. So with that in mind, let's open her up and see what we're dealing with. So here we are inside, and you can see we've got a coil here, so massive heat sinks. We've got some internal regulation going on with a fairly chunky voltage regulator. I've got some vintage dust. Lovely. Well, in fact, we'll just get rid of that straight away. And there we are. There's the inside of a VIC-20. It's actually in really nice condition. I'm quite impressed. We've got the memory down here, 2114s, which I think is a sign that this is definitely an early one. 1981 it's got down in the bottom. So let's continue stripping. And there we have it. It's all out. I'm going to strip off the heatsink, which looks to be from the underside. Initially I'm just going to strip the top heatsink. I'm not going to take the base plate off. And there we are. We are all the way inside, and it's looking rather nice. There is a layer of dust, nothing that can't be sorted, and a number of caps that will need replaced just because of the age. This I'm going to have to check on. This isn't the old voltage regulator. I'll need to check and see if they're still available. They should be, but where can I get one? It doesn't look like there's too much that needs done other than, ooh, missed a few, other than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 capacitors that I can see. So that's going to be my first job, replacing these capacitors. Well, that's the board fully recapped, either with Vichy, Panasonic or Rubicon Nichicon caps. Everything looks good. Interestingly, some of the caps I did take off were Nichicons, so the chances are they were still fine, but I'm taking no chances. They're all new caps, there's no degradation at all, everything should be fine. I am going to clean up these contact points here using good old trusty Rudolph. This is nothing more than a soft eraser, and I'm just going to rub it across the contacts, and hopefully even on camera this should pick up quite a change in the contacts from one set to the next. With that done, let's pop this top plate for the heatsink back on, and then we'll drop the entire thing back into the case. I'm not going to clean the lower case, it really only needs a dust. It's in that good a condition. Now I know some people don't like these shields. It's original, however, so I'll be leaving it. And with that all done, let's pop this to the side and let's look at the keyboard. So the issue with this keyboard is kind of like a broken button, which is not so good. I was able to get a replacement, however, it's not the right colour. So that's one I'll look for in the future so I can have all the same colour. I do have a full set in this colour which I can drop on if I wanted to. I'm not sure I do. I'm just going to replace this one, and when I got them it came with everything I need to hopefully replace this and allow me to fit to the keycap. So let's get this keyboard out and then we'll look at how this comes apart. This has taken quite a bit of force. These have never been out from you. This is how you can tell. Listen to the crack. That's also a lot of force to get those to turn. I could use a bigger screwdriver that's got a bigger handle, however I managed. But yeah, that was some effort. So with that done, let's lift this out, pop the upper to the side, and it could do with a clean. It's not too bad, it's really just the dusting it needs. And what I use are the anti-static brushes. I can, however, see there is a colour change. Hopefully the camera will pick that up. So I'm going to pop all these buttons off after I've taken a picture, and that will make cleaning these so much easier. And yay, another time I've got to clean. But I don't need to do that simply for replacing this. I'll do this at my leisure. Let's look at how we replace this. Now, I'm doing this at my leisure because I want to keep all these on, because obviously when I take the back off without these, everything's just going to fall out potentially. And the first thing I'm probably going to need to do is desolder this switch. And hopefully now this will lift up and out the way. That's what the inside of the keyboard looks like. It's absolutely pristine. It's like it was made yesterday. Beautiful. So I'm just going to lift out the one I know is faulty, grab the replacement, which is a different colour, drop it in, and now I can rebuild the keyboard. With that done, we can see the plunger is in place and it's working. We can test that. There we go. Perfect. Now I'll take a picture of all these and lift all the caps off. So off camera, I also cleaned up the upper case because it was a bit grubby. I did lift this off. This section here looks worse on camera than it does in real life. I just gently heated it, was able to peel it off. It's a little bit straighter, it's not perfect, but hey. So inside is nice and clean, outside is nice and clean. Let's put the two halves together and see what we end up with. So there we are, all reassembled, looking rather nice except for one key, but I'll track one down, we'll get it replaced. Before we go for testing, two other things to do. I'm going to look at the power supply and make sure it's giving out the right voltage. And of course next is the C2N dataset. We've covered these before. I'm not going to go into it in huge depth. What I am going to do is just do a fast forward through the key bits. So now we're going to look at the power supply. It's a bit of a brick, like the 64 ones. They're potted, which means there's very little you can do to service them. So if it fails, that's it. The advantage I have with this is it's just the transformer. There's really nothing else in there. And it takes the 240 volts and drops it down, as you can see, to 9 volts, 3 amps. So the first thing I'm going to do is plug this in and find out what we get. Now that it's plugged in, I should be able to go to AC and find out what this does. So no load, 11.25 volts, absolutely rock solid there. Nice. So I'm happy with that. The one thing I'm not so happy about, and I'll need to disconnect it for this, is the condition of the cable. Again, this has been sat in the box. It's reacted with the foam, and all of this just needs picked and cleaned off. As you can see, it's coming away in lumps. So I'm going to have to do this for the entire cable. So I'll see you in a bit. And once this is done, we'll go for testing. So here we are, we're ready. We've got our Datasette ready, we've got our VIC-20 set up, everything's on. Let's get the LCD on. Now I have got it connected up using the Commodore 64 cable, and that's set for side AV at the moment. So let's see what happens. We've got a red power light, and we've got a working VIC-20 by the looks of it. Excellent, absolutely superb. So shift run stop, just the same as the standard 64. I have no idea if this works, but this is the Melbourne House VIC-20 games pack. 5 classic games apparently. So hopefully the tape deck works. Let's see what happens when we play this. Well, there we go. It's loaded something. It's loaded Alien Blitz. The Datasette has worked absolutely perfectly. It stopped running. Hopefully you can see that. It stopped running at between 28 and 29 on the tape count. Press a key to start, and I believe it's C, V and M to play. Well, that works absolutely perfectly. Superb. I'm really chuffed with that, other than the oddly coloured key, which I'll get a replacement for. That's really nice. That's working better than I expected, and the screen is really clear. So let me try and remember how I reset this. That way. Easiest way is this way. So let's check the rest of the keyboard. Excellent, everything seems to work. Exactly as expected. So what's the only thing left to do? Also helps if I can spell. But there you go. Yellow YouTube. That's what I get for trying to type sideways and not paying attention. But thank you for watching. I hope you'll enjoy this video. Please remember, use the like button. It really does help promote, and I could do with the extra subscribers. And if you did like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. But most importantly, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next Retro Crazy.